Hey there, welcome to the garden. I am out here after a long hot day at the barn, but I'm gonna plant. I have some of these pineapple ground cherry seeds that I wanna get in the ground. Oh, there's a bug on me. It's, it's getting not late in the season, but late to be direct sowing something like this. We are getting to the end of May here, and I wanted to talk about direct sowing and planting these kind of seeds because I've gotten a few questions from a few people, and I thought we should chat about it. And I'm also going to plant these out and plant out a few tomatoes and some little other things that I got from one of my friends. Never mind that I'm covered in mud and everything. I just filmed another video talking about the boxwoods, and I feel like I'm not looking, but we're out in the garden, and so I figured why change from the barn when we're going out to the garden and we're going to plant. Okay, so if you're thinking, it's end of May and you're thinking, there's still some stuff that I want to plant. Can I direct sow something from seed at this stage? There's two things that I consider when I'm trying to make that judgment call. So one is your first frost date. That's going to tell you, when it's going to be too cold for something like this, like a tender plant to be outside. For me, my first frost is, I believe it's like end of October, early November. So I have quite a long time. But if you're in a more northern climate, if you're in a colder zone, you might be having, your first frost may be in September. So that just is gonna give you how many days you have left in your growing season, and that's what you want to look at. Okay, how many days do I have left? Let's see, if it's the end of May and we're gonna say end of October is my first frost, I have all of June, all of July, all of August, and all of September. They're all roughly 30 days. Okay, that's gonna give me 120 days to grow. So I'm in good stead. I think my math is right. Let me know if it's not. I think it is. I have about 4 months left to grow, which is awesome. And I feel so lucky. I love having that long growing season. So then I'm gonna take my plant that I wanna plant, and I am going to look at what are the days to maturity. So for the pineapple ground cherry, the days to maturity are about 75 days. But here's the thing. It says 75 days from transplanting. So this days to maturity is expecting that you've started these plants inside. So then you wanna look and you wanna go, okay, it's 75 days from transplanting. And then you're gonna look how many weeks do they want you to start inside. This is recommended to start 4 to 6 weeks inside. So let's say conservatively 4 weeks. If we add 4 weeks to that 75 days, that means that we need about 100 days of growing season to have mature plants and to be able to really get the full harvest. I just did that math, right? And I have time. So I have about 120 days, roughly around 100 days, I should be getting these, the produce, these plants should be mature. So I have time, I think so. But you wanna do that calculation. How many days to your first frost? How many days to maturity? And then if it's something that was supposed to be started indoors, you need to add the weeks that you want to, that it was early, that it was supposed to be started indoors to your days to maturity. Hope that makes sense. And as I just did, we've got 100 days to maturity and 120 days left in my growing season, roughly. It's all, rough. I could get a crazy early first frost, and then this could be all out the window. The other thing that I think is good and gives you a little bit bonus if you're doing this is that if you're kind of like pushing the limits with something like this, is that we are going to be planting these now here in the end of May, and it is going to be tons and tons of sunlight and very warm temperatures for the next, 30 days, 40 days, well, really for the next 60 days, 90 days, right? This is going to be the middle of summer when these plants are growing. And plants do tend to grow pretty quickly when they are exposed to nice warm temperatures and lots of sun, right? We are heading toward the longest day of the year, so they're going to be getting tons of great sunlight and tons of warm, hot heat. So it's not that it's going to make this plant reach the days to maturity that much faster. Like, it's not like a total cheat, but it is good in the sense that the plant is not going to be stunted. The plant is not going to be slowed down. If there's any, room for this plant to start, to be mature before that 7,500 days, we're going to be leaning to that side, because we're starting at, we're starting into this just really sunny, warm, hot season, ideal growing conditions for the plant. So that's the calculus that I make, and kind of the thought process that I think about. Now, I'm going to be planting these from seed directly into the ground. It is very warm, as I said. It's hot, and it's going to be, depending on whether or not we get rain, it could be kind of dry. So I am going to have to commit to making sure that I really water these seedlings, and that I don't, just like with any seedlings that you're starting at any time, that you don't let them dry out, because of course that's going to stop your plant from growing. If you also are feeling like you're trying to rush the plant, you can't afford any, right? We're trying to get our harvest in before the first frost. We don't want to have any stunting of the plant. So throughout the season, you're going to also want to be really careful that you don't let the plant get too dry. Anytime that the plant goes into a really stressed state, like if you see it starting to wilt because it doesn't have enough water, etc., that slows things down. So just keeping it really well watered and making sure that it's getting the fertilizer that it needs. Those are really important things to getting the optimal speed, trying to game the system, trying to get, your plant, your seeds, your fruits as early as possible. So those are kind of the two things, or the few things, I guess it's more than two, but those are the things that we think about when we're pushing the limits with something like this. So now I'm gonna go take these out here and plant them. These are pineapple ground cherries, one of my daughter's favorite foods. They are, ground cherries, also known as gooseberries, are closely related to tomatillos, and they have a sweet and tart flavor. These produce in abundance these little tiny fruits. Once the fruit is mature, it will fall to the ground, and that's when you know to eat it. So it's really fun for like the kids, because not only do they love the flavor and they love to eat it, but they also can really easily tell when the fruit is ripe. So, I don't know about you, but my tomatoes, we had quite a few. And if you can hear that in the background, I live in the country, so people are, often shooting and things in the distance. So if you can hear that, that's just what it is. But anyways, the kids know when the things are ripe. So a lot of the time, we had a lot of green tomatoes picked last year, just, on accident by the girls. And with the ground cherries, it's just nice because they just can tell. Like, if it's on the ground, you can eat it. If the ground cherry is not on the ground yet, don't pick it, wait. And that's just a really nice, clear, sort of easy thing for them to know. So, okay, let's go out in the kitchen garden and we'll pick a spot for these. They are a fairly large plant. It's kind of like a tomato. They get kind of big and bushy, a few feet, and tall and wide. So I do kind of need like a little bit of an open spot. I think I have a couple more places. The garden is filling up fast, but we'll find room. And we need somewhere convenient for the girls to be able to grab them and harvest them, because that's who's going to be eating the ground cherries. Okay, so I've got this little corner, my asparagus plant and my tomatoes. I've got nothing growing here. I don't think that the asparagus is going to get so big this year that it's going to cause a problem, because this is first year asparagus. And I'm just going to take a couple seeds. They're very tiny little seeds, and we're just going to plant them, barely even really cover them because they're so little. And then I got to come out here and water the garden, so I will just water them in. I should have brought my plant tags. Oh, I forgot my plant tags. I got to try to remember. There's ground cherries right there, so I don't plant anything else. But I think I'm pretty much, after we plant these tomatoes, I think I'm pretty much done. Now, the tomatoes, I have 3 tomato plants, a squash plant, and a cucumber. Let's see where those are gonna go. Okay, these are Sweet 100 tomatoes. They are a cherry tomato. They're an indeterminate. They're gonna get pretty big and pretty wild. And then a little cucumber. I don't know the variety on this. And what is this squash? It's a zucchini. So I think I'm gonna put the zucchini over here in this back side of the garden. I've got some room. Right here in the front I have okra, which is gonna get pretty tall, but I think I could put it, let's see. Oh, hot biscuits amaranth. Did that? I don't see any of that sprouting. I don't know if that amaranth is gonna sprout, but we'll put the zucchini right here. It can probably fend for itself behind the okra. It'll be okay. I have these pepper plants that I transplanted that just are not doing well at all. So I'm gonna put the tomatoes in. If the pepper plants end up taking off, it's not like they won't be able to grow with the tomatoes right there. And so I think between the two, it'll be okay. And then I'll just put some kind of a stake or something in the ground here, and we can, I can grow the tomatoes up that. I'm just gonna go in with the tomato right there. Am I gonna live to regret this later in the summer when it's really big and wild? I don't know. This could be kind of crazy. But I think that'll be really fun. And then I'm actually just gonna put this cucumber in the herb bed, which wasn't really the plan, but that'll also be totally fine. And it'll be cute to have a little vine over here with all of the herbs. That will be kind of nice. Okay, there we go. All right, well, that is the ground cherries planted. I'm heading out now to get my hose, get everything watered in the whole garden, because gotta stay on top of that this time of year. But I will keep you posted throughout the season on how those ground cherries do, when they start producing and come up and everything. So if you're interested, follow along. I'm trying to do a lot of garden tours this season and just weekly updates in the garden and everything, so that you can kind of see how all of that is doing. So gotta get this hose here and get watering. But thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.